Tired of typing the same commands every time you open PowerShell? What if PowerShell could remember your favorite configurations and commands automatically? Let's show you how. So PowerShell starts fresh every time you open it. That means no special settings, no custom commands, nothing is personalized. For IT pros, that's time wasted every day. The solution? PowerShell Profiles. Think of a profile as PowerShell's memory. It's like having your workspace set up every time you arrive. Whenever you open a new session in PowerShell, it'll have all your configurations there. So how do we do it? Let's go ahead and take a look here. Okay, to start with, your path to the PowerShell profile that you're using is going to be just profile. And that's the path that my profile should be at. If it already exists, it's going to be at that path. Okay, so there's a few different profiles that PowerShell uses on your machine. So PowerShell can have a number of profiles on your machine. The one you're going to use most often is current user, current host. Okay, we'll get to the other ones in just a minute, but let's see where our profile should be. It's the storage location for it. So profile, and we'll hit enter, and that is the name of the file if it exists. That doesn't necessarily mean that it exists, though. Let's see if it does exist. We're going to jump ahead just a second here. We're going to do a test path. And I do have a profile already. You can tell because I've got some customizations up here, and you can even see this fancy new prompt that I got here. Now, like I said, there's a few different profiles on your machine, and those are going to be these right here. All users, all hosts, all users, current host, current user, all hosts, current user, current host. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it kind of tells you right here, for all the users on a machine, and that's, all hosts, this is going to be in a networked environment where you're going to have profiles, online on a network drive probably somewhere. But if you're just doing this at home, the only one that's really going to matter is current user, current host. But by running this little line right here, we can see all the locations of all the different profiles on your machine. So let's go ahead and hit that. So let's go ahead and scroll here. Let's look at, all right. So it even tells us which one it is, all users, all hosts. And this is the location of that profile if it exists. Only one we have to worry about, though, is current user, current host. All right, so let's go to 2 here. Now, we just did this part already, test path. Go ahead and try this on your own machine to see if you have a profile already. If you do have a profile, great. If you don't, we're going to make one for you. So if this comes back as, let's run it on here again. That comes back as true, you already have a profile, great. This could come back as false. If it comes back as false, you can do this right here. If you did it, this would start up a brand new profile for you. It would create the file, and you could start adding stuff to it. If you do have a new profile, let's do get content. Now mine, it's going to have stuff in it. Yours, if you're just starting, it may not. So let's run that. And this shows you the contents of my profile. That's everything that's in my profile. Now, trying to edit your profile inside of PowerShell itself could be tough. Right here, we're in ISE, so it's no big deal. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and go to our next page here. We can open up our profile in ISE. Let's go into a regular PowerShell window here. That's where it would exist, but we're going to do test path and profile. Okay, so I do have one. We could do get content profile. And you see I have a lot more here. So, whoops, where we got lost here? I got a lot more. Mostly this is all just stuff for my title bar up here. So, all right, so let's go ahead and we are going to go to ISE profile. What that's going to do is going to open up a window right away in ISE and show us my profile. All right, that's the actual profile that I'm using in PowerShell right now. Okay, we could also do it in Notepad. All right, let's run that, and we'll see Notepad pop up. And again, there is my profile. If you have VS Code on your machine, you could do this. run it in VS Code, and it's over here. So let me drag it over. Again, same thing. All right. It's all what my profile is right now. So in your profile, what you want to do is you want to add a few things. If it's a brand new profile, if you want to add stuff, that's fine. Doesn't matter. But we could write host, and we could add this to a profile, and let's run that. It's going to show up in green. Tell them Mike is learning PowerShell sent you. We could also create functions inside of our profile. All right. Let's go to this right here. We're going to create a function with this line, and let's just run that. Okay, so run that. We're creating a function called prompt. All right. And it does a bunch of stuff. And look, right away, because we changed prompt, that's how I got my new prompt there. Pretty cool, huh? So what does it do? It writes host, PS, and that's PS right there. No new line, so it stays on the same line. Get location. So the location that we're in right now is C/MILP. Mike is learning PowerShell. Foreground color is green. We see that. No new line. So it stays right where it is. These no new lines aren't entirely necessary, but it's probably a good idea to put them in. And then return just gives us a space there. So, okay. That's right. We're going to run this. I'm going to create a function here. Let's do that. Okay, so we're creating a function called getDiskSpace. All right. Just hit enter a couple times to put that in. Now if I do get disk space, there we go. We could also create aliases. We're going to create an alias for that function that we just made. So we can do get set alias name disk value get disk space. This is the way it should be written, especially if you're in a script or in a profile. But honestly, defining these is not entirely necessary because they are positional parameters. It's expecting that your alias you want to create is the first thing you're entering, and the second thing is what you're creating an alias for. So while those parameters are nice to have, especially in a script, you don't need them. So, okay, I just did my set alias. Now again, if I type disk, we get our information again. So cool. Okay, so you saw me type in CLR just a second ago, and it's because I've been doing this, and it's kind of neat. So I'm going to copy this. So we did CLS before, and that's fine. But I like having a little bit of space right here. That's just something I like. So we just created a function. So now if I type CLR, it skips down 3 spaces for me, 3 lines. So of course we lost our green prompt, but we could add that back in if we wanted to. So when you create a function in your profile, if you then call that function inside your profile, it just all happens automatically. So if I were to run all of this, so we're going to do all of this right here. What it did is it did all these things here, created these functions, created this alias, cleared the screen. The function is CLR, and what it does, it clears the host, and then it gives us 3 new lines, and then it gives you your prompt. So, and then it just calls it right here. So by running that, it just clears the screen, and then we get our fancy prompt there. So if you've been watching all my videos, every time I have any kind of PowerShell window open, it's going to have a little fancy message here. Now that message can be fun movie quotes, it can be music lyrics. If you're working on some kind of certification, you can put your flashcard questions and answers up there if you want. Whatever. What I have here is I have an array. It's just a variable, but it's a variable with multiple values. Okay, and these are just a few different things. Extra points for you. No real prizes or anything, but if you can tell me where all these 5 lines come from in the comments, I'll give you a thumbs up. It just says random title, titles get random. And then, really nice thing about PowerShell profiles is you can make all kinds of different configurations right inside the profile itself. So this is one of the things. Host, not the easiest thing to read here, but host UI, raw UI, window title. All that means it is the title bar up on top. and it's going to give us a random title from these here. Now, in my regular profile, I probably have 50 of these. Here's 5 for free. And feel free to just go ahead and delete them and put your own in. Okay, so it selects a title and it puts it up there. Then we do a set alias, and we talked about this in an earlier video. We do list for get child item. So instead of typing in get child item, you could just type in list. You could also type in ls or dir or gci or whatever, but now there's another one. There's list for you. And also, flush DNS doesn't always work in the PowerShell window itself like it would in a command prompt. And here we got set alias for flush DNS. That just gives us clear -DNS client cache. Okay. And then we set our location to temp. We make a few more configuration changes here. Now, you know and I know what the errors look like in PowerShell. Just type in anything, blah, 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 and hit enter. You're going to get an error. It's going to be dark red on a blue screen. I'm not a big fan. So what I like to do is I like to change my error foreground and background to different colors so it's just easier to see. So by running that, I've set my error foreground to green and the background to black. So that just means I'm going to get a green on black anytime I type anything stupid. It's a little bit dark. Here I can do, if I wanted to, I could do light green. But you know what? I have run into troubles doing this in the regular PowerShell window. In ISE, green is kind of dark, but you can make it light green. Now, if I go into PowerShell, let's go ahead and copy that. Open up PowerShell here, enter those in. It doesn't know what light green is. That's kind of weird. And maybe it works in PowerShell 7. I don't know. But for the regular PowerShell window, I have to do just green. And while it looks dark in ISE, once you do it in... So let's go into regular PowerShell and type that in. So now, while green was dark in ISE, nice and bright in the PowerShell screen. We'll leave that at green since we're going to do most of our work in a regular PowerShell window. This you will almost never use, but you could change your warning foreground and background to a different color. And now we come to this part where we changed our prompt here. That is, again, just a function, and it's called prompt. Now, prompt is a setting that just gets looked at automatically, so you don't even have to call this function after you run it. It just automatically changes your prompt. So what's going on here now? We have a lot of data, and again, I'm going to post this in my GitHub page, so you can grab all this stuff, create your own profile, and add whatever you want from here. Do some searching online, see what other people put in their profiles. Think of something that you do in PowerShell that you want to automate. Maybe it's just a new alias. Maybe it's a very, very simple function. Okay, so before we finish up here, something I want to show you. Why do we want to do this in the first place? Yeah, I said it's easy to do, some configurations and run some scripts or whatever that you would run every day anyways, but what's the actual importance of customizing the PowerShell environment? Now, I got this information from a book called PowerShell Profiles by Laszlo Boxo. It's really an awesome book. It really is. Really good data about doing profiles. If you are a little bit interested right now and you want to get more into it, well, this is a great book to get. And the Amazon link is in the comments. I really, really recommend this book. If you go ahead and use my link, I get a couple pennies if you buy it at no cost to you. Just what Amazon gives me. You know how Amazon affiliate links work. Anyways, what are some things we want to do? We want to personalize settings. We talked about that already. We can improve efficiency just because we're doing everything right away. We can have a consistent environment. If you share this profile with all your friends in your work group, or if you're just hopping from computer to computer, you can always have a consistent environment to be in. By sharing information with your teammates, you can have enhanced productivity. If you have a lot of scripts that you have stored in different areas, another thing is better organization. You can have all your scripts in one profile. The profile we did here, 20, 30 lines. If you add everything we do together, maybe 100. Some profiles can be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 lines. It really just matters on your space on your computer. And honestly, because it's all text, you can have a huge profile and it's not going to have much effect on your performance. Now, if in that profile you are calling all kinds of modules and calling outside things, yeah, that can kind of build up, and it's not a great idea to have big modules loaded in every single time. Better organization. You can have all your scripts in one place. And improve troubleshooting. If you are level 1, level 2 help desk and you're constantly typing out certain commands, maybe you can just have those in your profile, add an alias for them, and do multiple things at once really quickly. That's automation is all what PowerShell is about. And you can also make sure everyone on your team has these same tools. While some people might use certain tools more than others, it's nice to have everybody have the same tools to work with. And honestly, it's a learning opportunity. You know, just playing around with your profile, you're going to learn stuff just by doing that. If you screw up your profile and it just causes things to go bad, well, you know how to find where it is. Just go ahead and delete it and start over. You're not going to hurt a thing by deleting a PowerShell profile. This is the book here, and Laszlo does a lot of these books. You can see that this is number 31. Yeah, he's got 31 books. Oh, Mike, is that 31 books on Windows and different Windows? No, that is 31 books in just PowerShell. The guy has books on everything PowerShell. So if you're really interested in learning a lot of PowerShell, again, his books are really good. Okay, so that's how you save time by using profiles in PowerShell. I really hope you give them a try, even if you're not in an enterprise environment and you're just doing this at home. A profile can still be helpful, but it's a good learning tool as well. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you got something out of it. Please like, subscribe, do all that, and send some comments down there. It really does help out a lot. So, all right, take care.